Йоу, всім привіт. Продовжуємо на чому зупинилися. От ти вампір.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So, may I ask you
Знову
a few
зануримося в
questions?
цей
I'm not
сумний, дуже сумний.
What could be worse?
Лондон. Так, я так понял. Ладно, мало що говорити.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
Угу.
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's...
Speaking of which, what...
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things.
Do you know Nurse Doroty Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
Goodbye, young man.
Так, ну все,
Even
ясно.
my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Де я тут? Так, що там є? Перевтома. Чекай, я десь бачу подібно, типа.
It's locked.
Закрито. Чого баті дома нема. Ну, перевтома.
So,
I'm not bothered.
Може вирішити?
would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Угу. Ну, так.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concerns.
Goodbye, young man.
Тобто ми його вилікували.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Так. Я з тобою ще не говорив.
And let your guard down. Now, sir. Welcome, sir. Please take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few...
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane. So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Одні її люблять, другі не люблять.
So she's trying to help her fellow immigrants. Why would that make her a villain?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something
Ну і
like that.
що?
Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet
Ага.
saint.
Просто жадний гандон.
How is business around here?
Business? I had no business.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
Ага,
It's no
і
secret Joe Peterson spends his time
That's
harassing
surprise.
merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and...
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Wait.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever. Madness. Something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Right then.
що у нього там є?
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
That's
Don't be
telephone.
afraid.
Щоб його загіпнотизувати. Це походу
Cheap
бачив
price, good quality. Come on.
Excuse me, sir.
пацана.
I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a...
Really? But still, here I am.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Його конкурент.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane. Yeah, I know her. One of the few
Ну,
good
поїхала,
souls that
значить.
dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. People won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way...
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
I've always put my son's interests above everything else. Whatever he may...
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid?
No one will ever take my son away from me.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was...
May I ask what...
I do whatever I want, and sometimes
According to you, physician...
not familiar with this neighborhood, are you?
This part of town does have quite a reputation.
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look...
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I found. And it paid...
A job? So you're racketeering...
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Goodbye, Mr.
You
Probably-
again?
Не знаю, як називати його. У мене тільки один. А, мені
Goodbye,
треба
Mr.
прокачувати, бля. Точно.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I've known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
It's never easy to find a new path in life, especially after the loss of a loved one. But crime is certainly not the best option.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
What do you know of Harry Peterson? The boy seems so fragile, not like his father at all.
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining. He's had it tough, all right, but he needs to grow a pair.
What troubles him exactly?
Well, despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place. Hates this place more than most of us.
Goodbye for now.
Давайте ще раз до нього збігаємо.
You again?
Помішаємо йому посипати. Ага, в нього. Ще нічого не
Goodbye, Mr.
бавилося, окей. Мгм. Не поняв. А що, може тільки щось одно, що? Ну, з тим, що треба розбиратися, так. На цьому районі. Окей. Всі, хто зараз хворі. Аж я бачу. Це мабуть. Нікого не бачу. Так, добре. Майже все. Я ще думаю, що треба до малого ще вернутися. Зараз прийду. Тихо, що там було? Не знаю, що тут робити. О, нічого це.
So you only hurt people because you care about me? Is that it?
Don't be such a brat. I do what I must to provide us with food and medicine, that's all.
Mum would never have let you bully an old friend like Mr. Lewis.
Ten його смішний.
Shame on you.
Harry, I'm your father and I love you. But don't you ever speak to me like that again.
What? You're gonna beat me too?
Jesus. Give me patience.
Ну, нічого такого в неї капець не знаю, чесно кажучи. То я зайду, хочу зробити пару лікарств. Ну, якщо я зможу, звісно. Але не по одному.
You again?
Why is your relationship with your son so difficult?
Harry and I are so different. Sometimes I wonder if he's my own blood. Seems he's ashamed to be my son.
Why not change that then? If you used your strength to do good, perhaps Harry wouldn't feel that way about you.
How dare you tell me what I should or shouldn't do with my boy? Who the fuck are you to interfere like that?
I don't doubt your motives. I'm certain you simply wish to provide for your family. But this desire might be the cause of your misery.
I don't think I like your attitude, sir. In fact, I'm starting to dislike your face so much.
I'd like to see you try Colossus Joe. In the meantime, are you sure I can't be of any help to your son? I am a doctor, remember?
Never. Harry's complicated. Fragile, you could say. Doesn't mingle with strangers. Now leave us alone.
Goodbye.
Окей, зайдемо ще до малого.
Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So, may I ask...
I'm not bothered.
You and your father have a difficult relationship, Harry.
No, never. My father can be brutal and rude. Violent, even.
What is going on between you two?
It's his job. If you can call it a job. He...
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be...
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my...
Have you tried speaking to...
I don't go out often, but yes. And he's...
Ха, його не можна виконувати. Я типа вбиваю, чи що, я не знаю, блін, не хочу знати. Чи як кров з нього вип'ю, чи я його вб'ю, чи не вб'ю. Треба з кимось поганим це зробити.
You... Goodbye.
I know it's hard to believe, but it... I'll let you go.
Ще раз за тим побазаримо, що
You
змінилося.
again?
Goodbye.
Поки що ні. Ну, окей там.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to. Nobody at home.
На бронхіт. О. Там Дороті Крейн. Пробуємо бігти.
Has been...
Нічого не
Good
змінилося.
evening.
Нічого не змінилося.
Goodbye.
Ні, Крейн, я йому з тим не говорю, то перевтома, а я йому можу викинути.
How are you?
I'm not your boy.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired these days.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Goodbye, young man.
Таке йому трошки краще стало. Блін, як там помогти. Навіть мігрень нічого нема. Я тут на початку віри часу не був. Подібне якісь місце.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Блін, недалеко від нього.
I will return later.
Ось таке.
It's locked.
Як мені туди попасти? Монастирі. Тільки 9-й. Дуже. Ну і я був поставив отут зброю, ну що тут? Як мені її поміняти? О, сет той самий. Сенсу не бачите. Не поки що буде. Давай повертай. Та-та-та. Сильніше. Блять, ти дістав. О, як це довго. Там, я хотів, щоб ти зарядився. Так, сюди він зайти не може, добре.
I cannot enter.
Там закрито, там закрито. Звертаємося назад. Пацієнт. Дитина плаче, так. Міцну карту. Так. Далі розбиратися.
It's locked.
Ти зможеш рапортуватися, щось таке. Так, якось золотом пахне.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
Так, я там вже був. Що розслідувати, то ну нарешті. Знаєш, що має бути така херня? Та вічно в крові.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Так, что давай разберемся.
Take a look. Don't be afraid. Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
Ти Клейтона. Ой, позневідомо. Я б ще не говорив.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Прикольно.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me?
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work,
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right?
you can put...
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal.
Лише її не зразилась в херню.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this...
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused.
Ну, хочеться іскати ото. А і...
Many people must deal with poverty, but not all choose to sell their bodies. That was your decision.
And when exactly was the last time you looked for a job? Or worried about the rent, or what, or when you were going to eat?
Goodbye, miss.
В тому вони
Good evening, Chris.
Change your...
вже їй можуть допомогти. Ну, нема.
Goodbye.
Другим разом, значить. Стараємося тобі допомогти.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias would...
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few...
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these...
No. But I have a
Ну, якась
disciple I
серія, де
see
ми
as my
просто
son.
йдемо. Вроді би і брат якийсь мама мабуть.
Where did you send him?
I sent
Тут мені
Sam
нагадує
to the
це
Stonebridge
ігру.
Cemetery,
Це якийсь
where the
детектив, мені нагадує
pestilence
цю
and
ігру.
evil grows
Е,
night after night.
Як то, не Call of Cthulhu, а теж була якась 18-го року, якась про Cthulhu. Як вона?
You sent him on some
Блін, забув. Ну,
preaching
коротше,
crusade
нас
during
було.
the epidemic.
As a true believer.
Але там зразу я знав, що типу, більш детектив, де ти ховаєшся, напевно. Стелс.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane?
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Ну, ясно, блядь.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Yeah.
So you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work.
Я ще про неї знав, вона
But
була
nurses are
комуністкою.
essential for modern health.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of men.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know?
But you are seeking answers, aren't you?
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But
What do you mean?
the beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the...
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
О,
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes.
ну, тут понятно, що відповість.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? What?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational...
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing.
My son, if you think salvation is a free...
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church, while he continues preaching his fraud...
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost?
All scientists are entangled in a world of...
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know?
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the...
Well,
As a doctor...
what do you mean?
The beast...
I have...
Угу, там, в суті, альтернативна та
It's
історія.
What do you mean?
All scientists...
Quite a...
But you...
I am.
Угу.
I have heard enough for tonight.
А, ну, чекай.
Good evening, Miss.
It's far...
Я хочу огнічувствувати.
I have heard...
Тебе загіпнотизувати, чи ж не просто. О, ти хто?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to
О,
Whitechapel.
подаєшкою.
But perhaps you could help me since you're a
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. Oh.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be
Ой, з
demoralized
ним
by news
довго
of
говорити.
deadly diseases.
if no one stops it, this epidemic could turn into a scourge. It may kill more people than the war itself.
Yes, this is another kind of war, but just as deadly.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of, My God, what happened to them?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public in...
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping...
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can...
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby.
Я більше поки що не
What do you know
історію.
of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never go...
He never goes out?
No.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him.
Зачіпаєш
Where
одне,
can I find this Mr.
мені
Nethercott?
типу за цепочку, а одразу йде друга. Треба ще якийсь чувак, ще якийсь чувак.
He never...
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just...
Goodbye, Mr.
Окей. Ну, сюди би так просто не мав би я заскакувати. Хочу сюди, чи... Десь коротше. Ага, я понял. Блін, тут я теж заскочити не можу.
It's locked, all right.
Жінка. О,
Good
стояла.
evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a...
Нема чи що?
I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Блін.
Very well. Goodbye then.
Сказав, що за жінка. Камелі. Здорово. Ну, блиститься ті газонки. А. Ага. Сказка.
Hello again, miss. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well.
Окей. Зараз ми підемо ще раз туди.
Hello again. I know you understand.
Блін. Що я тут ще можу знайти? Це я піду в інший район. Туди не треба. Потрібно залишатися в цьому районі. Так, добре. А, поштовий ящик знайти, окей.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me... more leverage to enter. Hello again. Very well. I cannot enter.
Будемо бігти.
Sorry, sir. No admittance.
Туди до церкви так і можна зайти. Це вже перевтомлення.
Good evening.
It's far.
З тобою.
I have heard...
Good evening, Doctor.
Бляха, і в тебе нічого нема.
Goodbye, man.
Трохи карта така запутана тут. Ага. Я його не треба. Ти, блядь, ну і візьми, застряне. Кончений, блядь. Ей, бо ну ти серйозно, ти давай ще всри, блядь, по-тупому. Здохни, блядь. Де там третій був? Ти третього вбив, чи він свалив кудись? Пише, що карантин. Дайте мені щотку сюди, или...
Some of us come to this. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott.
May I ask what you're doing at this?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly.
What are your thoughts on the
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocent...
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic.
Бачу, йому подобається.
My mother loved poetry. Perhaps your words would have touched her sensitive nature. I only see a dreadful disease.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Ну, блядь, такий філос, блядь, можна і по щелепі получити.
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to...
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you, for a start, my dear Doctor.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in what...
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the arid hunger...
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox,
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out that...
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with.
And have you ever tried to learn more about her?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious Camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard.
What can you tell me about an old...
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a...
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you alone. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him. Good evening.
And good evening to...
Do you need medical...
It may be...
I understand your appetite.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate...
I'll leave you alone.
Здається, він непоганий. Але точно з головою не зовсім дружить.
Hello again, miss. Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia.
З ким оці?
Very well.
Так, я би в бежище би зайшов би, крафтив би трошки тих. Би допомогти їм. Так, треба скоренько полічити їх і помало закруглятися з цією частиною. Давайте, так, бо їх саме більше.
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never...
Are you talking from...
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Goodbye.
Так, їм допомогли тепер. Я допоможу. Де той? Десь. Він же пішов звідси. Не бачу його серцебиття. Певно він кудись пішов. А, ось.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor.
If you...
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr.
Так, ще одну. Відлікували. Так, це погнали.
Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out.
Йдемо нарешті до медсестри.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again? Go away.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
Добре, давайте ми на цьому і закінчимо. Потім продовжимо вже. І знаємо, хто така ця медсестра. Але вже в наступній частині проходження. Дякую за перегляд.